Here's a question that'll keep you up tonight. How many connections have you missed because you couldn't read the signs? How many women were practical as Cream? I'm interested. In their own quiet way, while you stood there completely oblivious. I'm not judging. I've been that clueless guy more times than I care to admit. The woman at the coffee shop who coincidentally showed a pot the same time 3 days in a row. The friend who kept finding reasons to text me at midnight. The coworker who lawed way too hard at my terrible jokes. All sending signals I completely missed. Today, I'm giving you the translation guide I wish someone had given me. The 10 unmistakable things women do when they're into you. Not the obvious stuff you already know, but these subtle behaviors that actually matter. Let's decode this language together. 1. The time investment. Time is the on thing nobody can fake. Think a boutique. We're all overbooked, overwhelmed, and constantly pulled in different directions. Our calendars look like abstract art. So when a woman consistently makes time for you, that's not just politeness. That's intentional. I remember this woman I was friends with for months. We'd grab coffee occasionally, nothing special. But then suddenly she started suggesting we hang out twice a week instead of once a month. She'd text back a media line instead of ghosting for days. She'd stretch our coffee meetings from 30 minutes to 3 hours. At first, I thought nothing of it. Maybe she just had more free time, right? Wrong, she was deliberately carving out space in her life for me. And that's the key distinction. It wasn't just about chewing up. It was about showing up enthusiastically. Women who are into you didn't just fit you in. They prioritize Z. They'll rearrange schedules, stay up later than they should, wake up earlier than they want to. They'll respond to your messages even when they are swamped. They'll remember the details of your conversations and follow up on them. 2. The physical tells. Let's talk about something primal. Something that bypasses all our sophisticated social programming. Physical proximity. Our bodies often betray what our words won't admit. When a woman is attracted to you, her body gravitates toward yours, like there's some invisible magnetic pull. It's physics, but it's also chemistry. I was at this dinner party once with this woman I'd been friends with for years. We'd always had great conversation. But something felt different that night. Throughout the evening, I noticed she kept finding reasons to touch my arm when she laughed. She'd lean in unnecessarily close when I was speaking. Our knees kept accidentally touching under the table. These weren't grand gestures. They were micro moments off connection, but they spoke volumes. Here's what to watch for. Does she find excuses to touch you? A hand on your C-shoulder, fixing your collar, brushing something off your jacket? Does she sit closer to you than necessary? Does she shingle her body toward you in group settings, as if your conversation exists in its own private universe? 3. The questions that never end. Ever notice how when you're genuinely interested in someone, you'll become an amateur detective? You want to know everything. Their childhood memories, their greatest fears, their word food combinations, their dreams for the future. When a woman is into you, she becomes intensely curious about your life. Not just the highlights, but footnotes too. I once dated this woman who knew more about my family dynamics than my therapist. She'd remember casual comments I'd made weeks earlier and follow up on them. Hey, how the vulnerability exchange at your sister's job interview go? Or wasn't your fantasy football draft day? At first, I thought she was just being polite. But then I realized she was cataloging my life, creating a mental map of who I was. Women who are interested don't just ask surface-level questions. They probe deeper. They don't just ask what you do for work. They ask why you chose that career. They don't just ask about your weekend plans. They ask about the friends you're seeing and how you met them. They're building context, creating connections for the vulnerability exchange. Here's something I've noticed over the years. When we're interested in someone, we start taking emotional risks. We show parts of ourselves we usually keep hidden. When a woman is into you, she begins to let down her guard. She shares things she doesn't tell everyone. And it's not always the big dramatic confessions. Sometimes it's the small, seeming lie insignificant details that actually means most. I remember this woman I was seeing who always projected this image of having everything together. Perfect job, perfect apartment, perfect life. But one night, over cheap takeout, she told me about how she still sleeps with stuffed animal her dad gave her before he died. How sometimes she calls her mom just to hear her voice when she's feeling lost. How she's terrified might never find her propose. In that moment, something shifted between us. She wasn't just sharing information. She was offering trust. Women who are interested in Yao will start revealing their authentic selves, their doubts, their dreams, their contradictions. They'll tell Yao about the time they embarrassed themselves at a work presentation. They'll share their childhood insecurities. They'll admit to the guilty pleasures they don't broadcast to the world. Fifth, the consistent contact. In the consistent contact tour hyper-connected world, we're constantly bombarded with notifications, messages, and demands for our attention. Our digital lives are noisy, cluttered spaces where meaningful connection often gets lost in the static. So, when a woman consistently reaches out to you in this chaos, when she cuts through the noise to make contact, that's significant. I had this friend who would have sent me random texts throughout the day. Not the usual, how's it going small talk, but specific things. A song that reminded her of a conversation we'd had. A photo of a dog that looked like mine. An article related to something it mentioned being interested in. At first, I didn't think much of it. Just friendly communication, right? But then I realized something important. She was constantly looking for reasons to connect. She was building bridge between her day and mine. She was saying without actually saying it, "You're on me mind." Women who are interested create consistent communication rhythms. They don't just respond to your messages. They don't wait for you to make every move. They reach out first. They send good morning texts. They check in after your important meeting. They share random thoughts. That made them think of you. 6. The friends and family. The friends-family integration and tration. When someone starts introducing you to their inner circle, they're not just being friendly. They're integrating you into their life. They're saying, you're not temporary. You're Simeon. I want to connect to my world. I remember this woman I dated who, after just a few weeks, invited me to her friend's birthday dinner. I didn't think much of it at the time, just thought she needed a +1. But then I noticed, she introduced me to everyone, not just David, the guy I told you about, who knows that thing we were talking about. She had been talking about me to her friends. She had been creating space film and conversations I wasn't even present for. Women who are interested to see how you fit into their broader life. They want their friends' opinions. They want to observe you in different social contexts. They want to see if there's alignment between the person they're falling for and the people they already love. Because when a woman is genuinely into you, she doesn't just want you in her life. She wants Yao Van into the fabric of her world. She wants the people she loves to love you too. That kind of integration isn't casual. It's intentional. It's significant. 7. The future. The future reference. There's something profound living about how people talk about future. The language we use, the assumptions we make, the plans we suggest, they all betray our deeper intentions. When a woman is interested in you, she starts planting seeds for future connections. She weaves you into her tomorrow. I was once seeing this woman who kept using the phrase, next time in our conversations. Next time we should try that new restaurant. Next time Westhold watch that movie. Next time I'll show you the photos from my trip. It was subtle but unmistakable. She was creating continuity, assuming there will be more moments later. Women who are interested don't just live in the present with you. They project forward. They mention concertments away and casually suggest Yabath attend. They talk about places they want to show you someday. They use well language when discussing future events. The jealousy signals 8. The jealousy signals. Let's talk about something primal, something we often try to rationalize away or hide. Jealousy. That instinctive, visceral reaction when someone else enters the orbit of someone we care about. When a woman is interested in you, she notices other women are too. And sometimes, despite her best efforts, that awareness hows. I remember being at a bar with this woman I'd been seeing casually. We hadn't defined anything, hadn't had thetic, but when the bartender started flirting with me, I noticed something shift in her demeanor. Her laugh became slightly forced. She positioned herself closer to me. She found reasons to touch my arm to remind the bartender of her presence. She never said a word, a booty. But her body language spoke volumes. Women who are interested become a netto potential competition. They might ask casual questions about your female friends. They might get quieter when you mention an ex. They might scroll a bit too long on that photo of you with another. Woman 9. The effort, elevation, levation. In a world of convenience and shortcuts, genuine effort stands out. It's easy to double tap a like button, to send a quick text, to show up for good times. But putting in consistent, thoughtful effort, that's increasing liar. When a woman is truly interested in you, she elevates her effort. She goes beyond the expected. She pays attention to the details that matter to you. I dated this woman who remembered after one casual mention that I loved this obscure band from the 90s. 3 months later, for my birthday, she gave a vintage vinyl of their first album. She'd spent weeks hunting it down. It wasn't expensive, but it was specific. It was evidence that she'd been listening, really listening to who I was. Women who are interested put in effort that's tailored to you. They remember your coffee order. They notice when you mention a book you want to read, then actually ask you about it later. They plan dates around your interests, not just their own. 10. The unguarded laughter. There's something reveille about genuine laughter. Not the polite chuckaloo used in professional settings, but that unfiltered, uncontrolled sound that bubbles up from somewhere honest inside us. When a woman is interested in you, her laughter changes. It becomes more frequent, more authentic, more physically expressive. I remember this woman I was friends with for years. We started dating. We'd always had good conversation, always enjoyed others' company. But there was this moment. This specific moment I can still recall when something shifted. I made at some absurdly bad joke, the kind that usually gets an eye roll at best. Butch didn't just smile politely. Charlotte really laughed with her whole body. Head thrown back, eyes crinkled. That kind of full surrender laughter that you can't fake. In that moment, Eek knew something had changed between us. Women who are interested laugh more easily around you. They find humor in your average jokes. They appreciate your specific brand of wit. They recall funny moments you've shared and reference them later. So, there you have it. 10 things women do when they're genuinely interested in you. Not the obvious signals you've heard 1,000 times, but the subtle, honest behaviors though tactually mean something. Don't miss it, don't dismiss it. Don't convince yourself it's nothing. And most importantly, if you feel the same way, don't be afraid to show it. Because the most tragic love stories aren't the ones that end badly. They're the ones that never begin at all. If this video helped you understand these signals better, hit that subscribe button and share your experiences in the comments. Let me know which of these signs you've noticed or missed in your own life. And stay tuned for next week's video where we'll explore the flip side. The signs you might be subconsciously pushing a Wasamian who's interested in you. Thank you for watching and see you in the next tone.